I was going through my notes and trying to see how I was going to attack this part two of this Russia invasion of Ukraine incident that has just happened over the past day. And many of us who are believers are trying to put our finger on the pulse of end time or eschatology, or this is a message that we should be seeing, and where is it found in our scriptures, so that we can educate the church, educate the body of Christ, and educate our children on what's going on. A lot of videos have been going forth from secular people, and some of the youth have been. One young lady went viral with her TikTok video. Was a TikTok, and she was making it more ghetto-ish to tell y'all, you know, she called him brother Mr. P, and his girl, his something like that. It was quite clever. The young folks understood what she was saying. It took me a couple times to listen to the video to find out, you know, really what was she saying. But the young folk got it right away. It went viral, but what it did was it helped a lot of young folks who are uninformed and who do not watch the news. It helped them get caught up on the scuffle that's going on with Putin. All right, this is something that hasn't happened since World War II. A European fight over there in the eastern part, and so this is very significant. And I believe that we should be aware of what's going on, even though I do not see America entering in any type of war with Russia. Trust me, that's not happening for a reason, and I'll tell you that in about 60.
Bass.
It's the show that will get you thinking, and where the topics are hot. Feel free to comment whether we agree or not, 'cause he's got something to say. Sirwalterj Jones. Sirwalterj Jones. He's got something to say. Sirwalterj Jones. Sirwalterj Jones Show.
Come on in. The water's fine.
Hello, everybody. Sirwalterj Jones Show. I'm here. It is the evening edition, baby. Come on in. The water's fine. Water's fine. Well, it's kind of murky. At the time of this recording, all of the things that Putin and his henchmen said that they wouldn't do, they did. For the past couple of weeks, the Russia delegation has been telling the United States and many of the nations of NATO that they are not invading Ukraine. They're just doing some kind of military exercise, what have you. How dare you? I'm offended. I'm insulted that you would think we were going to do this. And this is the same talking points that he did when he annexed Crimea below Ukraine. All right, the same talking points. No, we're not doing it. We're just doing whatever we need to do just to make sure that we keep our boys working, okay? And then what did he do? He invaded Ukraine. Right now, he's trying to take over Kyiv or Kiev. The news will say it two different ways. Both ways are correct, all right? And so it's happening right before our eyes. People are getting nervous. The Ukrainian people are divided. They were divided because a lot of Russian people, speaking people and natives of Russia are in Ukraine, okay, especially on the eastern borders of Ukraine. And so some of them actually had no problem with Putin coming in, and then the other side was like, no, you can't do that. That's going to really hurt us and divide us, all right? And so he did what he felt that he needed to do. All right, and so what I'm going to do is show you some history here, bring up a map and talk about Israel more so than talk about what Russia is doing with Ukraine. But what Russia is doing with Ukraine needs to be, we need to keep an eye on what's happening there, because this is just a setup. What you all are doing, seeing right before your eyes is in time, but unfortunately not to the point to where some of the posts I've been seeing This is just the beginning of some things that we're going to that we may not see in our lifetime. Maybe our children will see it, or maybe we will see in our lifetime. I don't know how quickly the Lord will allow this stuff to rush in so that we will be raptured away. All right, but as far as the rapture, things that are happening, the rapture occurrence, that is, it could happen at any moment, any day. There's nothing else in biblical prophecy that needs to happen before the rapture. Hear me. Nothing else needs to happen. We could be raptured as I'm talking right now. All right. So it's not really about the rapture. All right. But if you are interested in what's going to happen leading into maybe the Antichrist entering in, or the tribulation entering in, or what's going to happen, what is the timeline of Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39? I want to talk about those things first, so that we could be more educated on how to help others understand eschatology and to prepare themselves for the doom that is about to come. Now, we have to look at the history of Putin by looking at the history of Russia, all right, and to see why is this man feel that he can do what he is doing. Okay, he is a strategist. He is a very smart man. All right, he's full of wisdom. All right, believe it or not, this is the wisdom of the world. He is a military strategist. Okay, and he is just like the person in whom he really hated, that is Hitler, Adolf Hitler, because he was striking against other nations because he was calling them Nazis. He hated them because it has a lot to do with the family of the Russian people, that family of generals, or they didn't call them presidents back then. I believe the general secretary was the term that was used for Stalin, Joseph Stalin. Joseph Stalin, who was a dictator, authoritarian, an oligarch, as we see in Putin. He came up under a very humble situation, a humble life. His father was a poor man and his mama was a poor man. She was like someone who was a slave, not a slave, but a black woman in the South during Jim Crow, who was ironing shirts for white folks. Okay, that's who his mom was. And he had some issues, but they sent him to school to be a priest. He went to a Bible school, all right? He was going to become a priest, just like, what's his name? Charles Darwin. They had the same upbringing, priest, okay? And then he began to, while he was in school, he was studying Marxism, all right? And he affectionately wanted to actually help the people of Russia, okay, because of if you ever read on what Marxism is, Karl Marx and someone else who came up with the concept because of what they were seeing in the Russian territory, in the Union of the Soviet Union, and the Byzantines and all these other little nations, and how they were operating and going against the people, the poor people. Marxism became that structure, that political structure, which leads, or the end result of Marxism is communism. All right, long story. So when you look at Joseph Stalin and his life, you look at even Adolf Hitler and his life, you look at Mussolini, who was the president, prime minister over in Italy, okay? You see these men were allies of each other, as I said yesterday, and they had the mentality of destroy, conquer, and they had a love, for Alexander the Great. That's who Putin is. Putin wants to be another Alexander the Great. What did he do, though? He looked at the superpower that was left on the earth, and that is the United States of America. All right? And so Putin tried all of the presidents since Putin has been in office for many years. He tried and pushed the button of every president that we can think of since Putin been the president of Russia. But there's one president in whom he did not really need to push the button. As a matter of fact, he was a proponent, or he assisted this president. He assisted this man to become the president of the United States. 2015, 2016. Okay, and then by 2017, he's raising his right hand and say, I solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth. Well, I promise to. I'm telling the wrong one. This is the wrong oath. Wrong oath. Okay. All right. How did he get in there? Russia was meddling in the election practices of the United States, and they were using the technology that we have today, which is tainting our brains, and that's social media. So Russia decided, since everybody's on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and some YouTube here and there, then let us find another way to wage war on this nation, but an intellectual war, because Putin looked at America as a bunch of dummies. And guess what? He's not too far from the truth. America is dumb. It's dumbing down so much. Knowledge has increased, but this knowledge that Daniel talks about that has increased, the books have opened and knowledge have increased and doubled and tripled and quadrupled. But unfortunately, Solomon said that too much study will make a man mad and weary. Okay? So America got puffed up, all right, because they've been a superpower for so long that America is not as innocent as you think. And I mentioned that yesterday. I talked about the 23 nations or territories that America themselves have invaded. And we have troops all over the world meddling in other people's businesses. All right. So we are a very hypocritical nation. Right. But so Putin looked at us being very dumb, especially he looked at the white evangelicals. He profiled them to the T. He looked at those of you who are part of Kufi, the Christians United for Israel. He looked at your Christian radio stations and shows, the church channel, the Word Network. Okay, all these other TBNs and stuff like that. He looked at how y'all worship and how obsessed y'all are over Israel and the people who are over there right now. He looked at your politics. He looked at your division and race relations here in America. All right. He looked at how divided you were, even when the pandemic came. He looked at all that stuff and he saw a nation divided. He saw a man who never served in politics before. He saw a man who was heralded as King Cyrus, a man who told those people that I would put a Tic Tac in a woman's mouth and feel on her vagina. He says I can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and don't lose a vote. He said that I don't owe God no apology. He's the one that looked in the sky and said, I'm the chosen one. And those people voted for him by the millions, and Putin saw that. And he says, that's my man. And so he meddled in our election and got that man in there. And that man piled up with Putin because of his love for authoritarians. And he brought in, because he's the leader of the Republican Party, he brought the whole Republican Party into that. And he put people in place as the president of the United States to make sure that they pile up with authoritarians and oligarchs. He was excited that North Korea wrote him love letters. He was excited that he can call Putin on the phone and they talk and chat all night long. He was excited to go against the American people in all of the intelligence that we have, and the generals and the FBI and CIA, all the intelligence. Okay, he went against them and sided with Putin. Putin says, "This is my man. I gave birth to this man." So now, right now, the state television, which is Fox News, and AOC and all these other places where Republicans go for their news, they are now saying that Putin is a genius through Donald Trump, the leader and the head of the Republican Party. They said he's doing the smart thing. And this man is the worldwide headship of communism. Who would have thought in my day and time that the United States would have one of the two major parties of the United States, or AOC, is it, Angel? Who would have thought that the party of Lincoln, all right, that party who were the ones who freed the slaves, that party who gave us the abolitionists, all right, Republican Party. Now I know there was a switch in the 60s, all right, so we can talk about that later. Who would have thought that party who during the trials in the 1950s, you know, have you no decency, when they were talking, they made, if you look like or thought, if you cough like a communist, you lost your job. You were blackballed. You were put on the no-fly list. Communism. Who would have thought that after all we've been through in history, that right now the Republican Party is siding with a major communist to the point that they love him? Now, there's a reason why they're doing this. I call it the Obama effect. Putin is more popular among them than Biden. That's amazing. More popular. Why? Because it's not so much about how much they love Putin. It's really much about how much they hate Biden. And if they could side with the enemy to go against Biden, they would side with the enemy. The enemy of mine enemy is my friend. So that's what we're seeing, y'all. That's what we're seeing here, and it is what is the beginning of the division of and the weakening of the United States. We are not going to be an end time prophecy, or even in the scriptures you can't even find the United States. Why? Because of what we see right now. 71 million people voted on that side for a man. Why? Many of them voted for that man because they did not want to vote for someone else. That is the ingredients of self-destruction and implosion and the annihilation of an entire nation. That's it. That's it. And so that's where we're heading. So Putin have this free will. Today he tested the nations of NATO, says, don't meddle in our business. This is between Russia and Ukraine. If any of you suckers try and meddle, he says, you will reap the benefit of our terror. You don't want to mess with us. That's what Putin said today. And many of the nations, I heard a resounding gulp, because you do not want to mess with Vladimir Putin. Don't want to mess with him because they have stockpiled so much weapons of mass destruction. You don't want to mess with him. All right. So there's a reason why he can do this, because Ukraine is not a part of NATO. If Ukraine was a part of NATO, then by law and by an agreement of this treaty, all of the other nations must strike against Putin. So Putin is not as dumb as y'all think he is. You understand? Let me show y'all something here. This is the map of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. That's the USSR. That's what it stands for. And this is about 15 nations: Lithuania, Estonia, Russia, Latvia, Of course, we see Ukraine here. You see Georgia, Armenia. All right, Armenia and Georgia are going to play a big part, y'all, in end-time prophecy. Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, all that. All right, 15 nations made up the Soviet Union. They were a force to be reckoned with. They were the superpower of the day. And then we entered into World War II. These nations came together, and but the problem with this is that the division is the same as the division in the United States. Okay, the struggle of the rich and the poor is the struggle what we have in today. The 99% against the 1%. No, the middle class. Where's that in America? That what was going on here. All right, and so there were many people here who was on starvation level, and many of these nations began to pull out of the Union. Who was that? Gorbachev, this man right here, who was the president of through 1985 during the Ronald Reagan years. All right, there was this was a Cold War mess, because we understood how much power that the Soviet Union had. Well, it dismantled because of the division, and in a sense, they wanted, many of these neighboring nations wanted their independence, and so they did get their independence in 1991. It dismantled. All right. Now, here's NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty, and when you go here, you'll see. All right, you'll see something here. I don't know what I did here. I've got to learn how to use this thing. Hold on. Right here, when you see the treaty, you will see. Hold on. Got to learn my way around my own stuff here. Okay, is it going to work this time? Yes. Washington, D.C. is where they met. These were the nations who came together because they understood the superpower of the USSR. 1949, all right, right after World War II ended, these nations decided to come together as a way of protection. The parties to this treaty reaffirmed their faith in the purpose and principles of the Charter of the United Nations. Okay, you got Article 1 here, Article 2 here, but lately Article 3 has been popping up in the news. And what does Article 3 says, and why Putin don't want to mess, all right, with someone in NATO, because he know that he's up against hell. In order more effectively to achieve the objectives of this treaty, the parties separately and jointly by means of continuous and effective self-help and mutual aid will maintain and develop their individual and collective capacity to resist armed attacks. What are they saying? They basically saying here is, you mess with one, you mess with us all. No matter how small a nation is in NATO, they could have 5 people in there. But you mess with one, you've messed with all. You understand? That's how powerful that article is. You don't want to mess with that. And so it would be a blessing to be a part of the North American Treaty, Atlantic Treaty. But unfortunately, Ukraine is not in there. You understand? And Putin is fighting or trying to overtake Ukraine for the purpose, because Ukraine is being courted to be a part of this. Okay? They're in courtship. He don't want that. He didn't want that. Okay? So it was best for him and his interest to strike now before that do happen. All right, so when you see that, what the juxtapose of the North Atlantic Treaty was these are the NATO states here. All right, memberships: Albania, Belgium, Bulgaria, Canada, Denmark, Astoria, France, all of the ones that you're familiar with who are our allies: Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Italy, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg. All right, Luxembourg, which is kind of weird because Luxembourg used to be a part of the Warsaw Treaty, which I'll talk about in a minute. All right, the Netherlands, Norway, Poland. Poland is another one. All right, Poland in Warsaw. All right, that's when you see some of these nations like Poland, Luxembourg, okay, you're going to see something in time. Spain, Turkey. All right, these are end time nations. Of course, United Kingdom. Now, United States is an end time nation. You'll see. I'll have to explain that in another way. Okay, these all are part of NATO right now, and Putin would love for some of these to get up out of there. He can't mess with these nations. But if they were not in there, Putin would go to war with several of these nations. Why? Because at one time they were a part of the Warsaw Treaty. The Warsaw Organization, also known as the Warsaw Pact, was a political and military alliance established between the Soviet Union and several Eastern European countries. The Soviet Union formed this alliance as a counterbalance to NATO, a collective security alliance concluding, of course, United States, Canada, blah, blah, blah. All right, and let's see, will they give us some of the nations that are in there? All right, so I'm letting y'all see something. When you don't know your history, you're deemed to repeat it. Is that what they say? Okay. So this is the treaty. And will they give me? Yeah. Okay. The Warsaw Pact, okay, following World War II, the Soviet Union had concluded bilateral treaties with each of these Eastern European states, except for East Germany. Very important. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Y'all remember that? Who said that? Who said that? Which was still part of the Soviet-occupied territories of Germany. When the Federal Republic of Germany entered NATO in 1955, the Soviets feared the consequences of the strengthened NATO and rearmed West Germany, and hoped that Warsaw Treaty Organization could both contain West Germany and negotiate with NATO. Y'all understanding this now? Is it making any sense? Y'all been sitting on your TV, you just didn't know what was happening. All right. Soviet leadership also noted that civil unrest was on the rise in East European countries. Okay. All right. Moscow. Keep your eye on Moscow. Because we may just be seeing them in the book of Ezekiel. Moscow. The original signatories to this treaty were, of course, the Soviet Union. That's the 15 states. Albania. Okay. Albania. Poland. Remember I said Poland? They were on one side and they jumped fence. Czechoslovakia, no more. Hungary, Bulgaria, Romania, German Democratic Republic, full name. Okay? So all these play a significant part. They had to find safety because they were part of the Warsaw Treaty, okay, is named that because of where it was signed. All right, so now Putin believes that he is his own superpower. Ooh, sexual fast. What are we talking about? What was this? Oh, I did that show a couple days ago. I'm like, ooh, sexual fast. All right, so here are the Putin wars. Matter of fact, let's find a map. Let's go to the map. I saw a map. I know I had one. There it is. All right. Let's look at this map right here. And let's look at the Putin's wars. And these wars will help us see what's going on. All right? Right here. Where am I? Okay. Here's a war. Right here. As soon as I can find the pen. Come on, pen. We were doing fine. Do I have to do this again? Hold on, y'all. I always tend to have these problems. Well, hold on. Okay, let's do this again. There was about 4 wars that Putin waged, and one of them was here. This is Georgia. Okay? Can you see that? That's Georgia. He fought Georgia in 1999. All right? No, I'm sorry. He fought Georgia in 2008. Okay? Well, when you go south, I think east of Georgia, okay, I got to draw it out here, you'll see a territory called Chechnya. Okay? And in Chechnya, he overtook that in 1999. Okay? And then what did he do? He went over to Ukraine and did what? He annexed Crimea. Okay? He annexed Crimea. How was he able to do this? Oh, with ease. And then what did he do? And then he went down to Syria. He fought them in 2015. Y'all see what's happening here. So what did he do? He was able to win these wars. What did that do to him mentally? It strengthened him mentally, because y'all ain't bother Putin. You didn't mess with him. You couldn't mess with him. Putin is playing a game of the family has been divided due to 1991, the USSR, and I'm trying to bring the family back together, because what I'm seeing over in NATO, they're trying to go against me, and I will not allow Russia to fall. So I got to pull my folks back in. Even if it means I can't overtake one, but I need to annex this. All right? So what Putin did, let me erase all this. What Putin did was he decided to go against Ukraine because Ukraine spit in his face. Ukraine spit in his face. Ukraine decided to come up with this thing called the revolution. Not Prince in the revolution. The revolution of dignity. The revolution of dignity. This was Ukraine. This was around 2013, 2014. Okay? What does that mean? It means democracy. And we talked about democracy, didn't we? Remember we talked about demo and Creole, or Crean. Remember we talked about that word, Crean and demos? Remember? Can y'all tell me what democracy means? What it stands for? Democracy. You cannot have a democracy under Putin. That goes totally against communism. Can't have it. What is democracy, y'all? Can y'all tell me what that is? And so he pretty much, yeah, Brother Aaron says mob rule. Mob rule. Okay. Good to see you, the wholehearted Christian. All right. So when Putin wants to invade, he will call one of their leaders Nazis, because he remembered. Come on, perfectly says the majority rules. So is the United States a democracy? Yes, Plato's Republic, Brother Aaron. We did this show before. Is the United States a democracy? Or is the United States a republic? Remember when we did that show? Huh? Some people call us a democratic republic. Okay? We're not even that. All right? So Ruth went to class that day. That's right. We are an oligarchy. And what does an oligarchy mean? Can y'all tell me what an oligarchy is? We see it. You just turn on the news, turn on TV, go outside, read the paper. You can see that we are an oligarchy. That's what we are. We're not a republic. Even though in the paper it says, "To the republic for which it stands," our little saying, one nation under God. It's a lie. All right. I'm reading your comments, by the way. That's why I'm pausing, because I'm reading your comments with the bad eyes. All right. So, with that being said, let's how do we do this? Go back to here. I'm trying to find out how to use all my tools here. Okay. And so, if I get rid of all this beautiful stuff here, okay, that's how you do it. I'm learning stuff on my own toys. All right. So let's do this. That's the history in layman's terms of Putin. But now what we have to do, though, we need to go to the scriptures to try and figure out, now that we know why he's fighting Ukraine. It's obvious now, all right? He's fighting Ukraine because, number one, he can. Number two, he do not want Ukraine to enter into NATO. All right, that's a no-no, because NATO is a direct enemy of Russia. You understand? So Ukraine entering into NATO is a slap in Putin's face. It's a spit in his face. You understand? Because if they enter into NATO, that is the enemy side. Putin feels that Ukraine is a part of Russia, because he still sees these other nations who jumped out as still part of us, the USSR, the Socialist Republic. You understand? So this is a family fight. Ukraine is fighting this fight alone, unfortunately. All of these nations under NATO, is about 30 of them, okay? We can't help them. Not with military force, we can't. We can if we want to. We can, because I don't think there's anything in the treaty that says we can't fight as an individual, independent nation to fight against Putin. But you don't want to do that, because if the United States decides that they want to put some troops over there, then our allies feel obligated to join to go against that. So Biden is correct. Do not put boots on the ground. Do not send any military force over there to Russia. Don't do it. Or not just Russia, but Ukraine. Don't do it. Because if you do that, we have allies we have to look after. And we don't want them to feel pushed or obligated to help America fight on behalf of Ukraine. So the safest thing for us to do and all the other nations to do is implement sanctions. Okay? Now, Putin ain't too worried about sanctions, although sanctions did hurt Putin when he annexed Crimea and when he took Georgia. All right? We did put some sanctions on that. Actually hurt the Russian people. All right? And they pretty much said, hey, that's on Putin's head. We can't do nothing about how the Russian people are affected, all right? But that's on Putin's head. That's the best we can do. But trust me, we can't go to war with them. That's, no matter how much y'all feel that we want to do that, you don't want your boys and girls over there. You don't. Okay, because they don't fight fair. They don't fight fair. So let's go to the book of Ezekiel chapter 38. Let's see if we can make sense of this. All right. And I knew that was going to happen. Let's make sense of this so that we can see where's Israel in all this. Okay. Where is Israel in all of this? And how do we figure this out? Yeah, Linwood. Sanctions hurt the citizens, not Putin. There you go, Angel. Putin does not care about sanctions. Come on. Yeah, Biden can directly make that call unless Congress overrides him with majority votes. And now, Brother Aaron, technically you are correct. He can't make that call directly. But how did we get in Iraq and Afghanistan? And where else did we go? How did we even get in Vietnam? Okay. Executive order. Thank you. But the generals won't go for it. You see, we have not declared war since Mr. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Congress said, by all means, let's declare war on Japan. Since that time, we have not declared war. Everything that happened since World War II have been orders. Or we came up with stuff. We threw a rock. Putin did the same thing. He went over to Ukraine and he caused the scuffle. If I'm going to put my force in front of you, I want you to throw a rock first. Somebody threw a rock. He said, see, Ukraine is fighting us. Unleash. That's what he did. And that's how we got in these scuffles. Sometimes you got to tell a lie. Yeah. Police actions. Gulf of Tonkin. False flags. Oh, absolutely. So we have never declared a war since World War II. Haven't done it. But yet, fear. How did we get to Afghanistan? Fear. How did we go over there and topple Saddam Hussein? Finding nothing over there. Fear. And as long as the public see that they are a threat by the talking points of y'all's politicians, we didn't complain. Come on, Angel. That's what I want to say about Clinton. Wag the dog. Wag the dog. All right? And so Putin felt he was justified. Here's what the scripture says. This is another message. That came to me from the Lord. Son of man, turn and face Gog and the land of Magog. We got to try to figure out on the map, where are these places? And the prince who rules over the nations of Meshach and Tubal. Okay? You will always see in scripture Meshach and Tubal together. All right? They are a territory right now. They just go under another name. Prophesy against him. Give him this message from the sovereign Lord. Gog, I am your enemy. Who's Gog? Is that a nation? Is that a person? I will turn you around and put hooks in your jaws to lead you out with your whole army, your horses and charioteers, in full armor, and a great horde armed with shields and swords. And here he brings up Persia, Ethiopia. You gotta be careful with this. This is not the Ethiopia in which y'all think it is. And Libya, okay, will join you too with all their weapons. Gomer, who's Gomer Powell? And all of his armies will also join you, along with the armies of Beth Targama from the distant north. Remember I told y'all to keep your eye on a certain nation a few minutes ago? Can y'all put in the comments who was that nation? Who was that nation? I said keep your eye on. That's that nation in the distant north. And many others. Not Israel. Not Israel. I'm talking about the enemy of Israel. I said keep your eye on that one nation. He's going to pop up in Ezekiel 38. I said those words. Can y'all tell me who it was? Not Poland? Nope. He said, get ready, be prepared. Keep all the armies around you mobilized. Okay, you close when you said Muslims, Ricardo. And I'm going to show you a map on why I say you are extremely close. He said, keep them immobilized and take command of them. All right? A long time. Okay, y'all haven't got it yet. I'm looking at your comments. Not yet. A long time from now, you will be called into action. In the distant future, you will swoop down on the land of Israel, which will be enjoying peace after recovering from war and after its people have returned from many lands to the mountains of Israel. Nope, not Saudi, not Iran, not Palestine. Now we're all gonna see many of them, but y'all missing one big one. And it's up near Russia. It's in Russia. You and all your allies, a vast and awesome army will roll down on them like a storm. Wow. And cover the land like a cloud. Jesus. Not China, y'all. I said it's in Russia. This is what the sovereign Lord says. At that time, evil thoughts will come to your mind. Now, he goes on and on. Okay, he talks about Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish. All right, I'm going to show y'all who that might be on the map. Tarshish. We'll ask, okay, Tarshish have a lot to do with South America. Okay, Tarshish is not South America, but Tarshish used to, own much of South America. Tarshish. Do you really think the armies you have gathered can rob them of silver and gold? Do you think you can drive away their livestock and seize their goods and carry off the plunder? No, not happening. All right, I see the answer down there. One person got it. All right, one person got it. And truth got it. Truth will win got the answer. Therefore, son of man, prophesy against God. Give him this message. When my people are living in peace in their land, then you will rise, you will rouse yourselves. You will come from your homeland in distant north. Distant north. With your vast cavalry and your mighty army, and you will attack my people Israel. God is saying this. God says, I'm going to let you do this. God's got his hands like this. He said, go ahead. Attack my people. Can you imagine a father telling a bunch of gang members, Come on in the house, attack my family. And he's standing there watching it. But that father had enrolled his children in karate classes. His children just come out of the army after doing 4, 5, 6 years. His children are bodybuilders, WrestleMania and all that stuff. That's pretty much God saying, hey, come on in, boys. Have your way with my boys. At that time, in the distant future, I will bring you against my land as everybody gonna watch this. How they gonna do it? Satellite. And my holiness will be displayed by what happens to you, oh God. People are going to see my holiness. This is the same thing he told Moses and his brother Aaron. I'm going to show Pharaoh my holiness. I'm going to harden his heart, but he going to see me. Then all the nations will know that I am everybody going to know. All the Muslim nations going to know, oh, that's the God of the Israelites. Yeah, that's him. You don't want to mess with that Yahweh. You don't want to mess with Elohim. You don't want to mess with Jehovah. You don't want to mess with Yah. Don't do it. This is what the sovereign Lord asks. Are you the one I was talking about long ago when I announced through Israel's prophets that in the future I will bring you against my people? But this is what the Lord said. Okay, he goes on. All right, now, then you got to go to chapter. That's a picture. Okay. Then you got to go to chapter 39. The next one says something. What does the next one say? Okay. Hear what the next one say. Son of man, prophesy against God. Give him this message from the sovereign Lord. I am your enemy. I'm your enemy. O Gog, ruler of the nations of Meshach and Tubal. See, it's always together. I wonder why. If they are together, that means they probably... Anyway, I will turn you around and drive you towards the mountains of Israel, bringing you from the distant north. I will knock the bow from your left hand and the arrows from your right hand, and I will leave you helpless. You and your army and your allies will all die on the mountains. Whoa! He's getting ready to knock out and destroy all these nations that you see today. If y'all don't go on an evangelistic tour of some of these nations I'm getting ready to tell you right now, you are missing a golden opportunity. These are the nations you should be praying for, that God will save these nations, because he's getting ready to destroy them. All of them are about to die. Billions. You and your army and your allies will all die. I will feed you to the vultures and the wild animals. You will fall on the open fields, for I have spoken, says the sovereign Lord, and I will rain down fire on Magog. Fire. And on all of your allies who live safely on the coast, then they will know that I am the Lord. And some people believe that that fire is nuclear war. In this way I will make known my holy name among the people of Israel. I will not let anyone bring shame, and the nations too will know that day of judgment will come. Okay, now the irony about all this is that this is not the end. This is not the end of the tribulation. This is not the Armageddon war. People think it is, but this is not. Then the people in the towns of Israel will go out and pick up your small and large shields, bow and arrows, javelins and spears, and they will use them for fuel. There will be enough to last them 7 years. That's how many millions upon millions upon millions of soldiers that are out there dead. 7 years to gather up this stuff? They won't need to cut wood for the fields of the forest, for these weapons will give them all the fuel that they need. They will plunder those who plan to plunder them, and they will rob those who plan to rob them. And I will make a vast graveyard for Gog. Vast valley and travel east. It will block the way of those who travel there, and they will change the name of that place to the Valley of Gog's Hordes. It's crazy. Y'all go to Amazon and you buy these novels, and you go to you pay $20-$30 for a ticket for two to go to see a blockbuster movie, but you won't even read what's in your back pocket. This right here, if somebody would just create a movie about this, they can't, because Hollywood's going to put their little mess in it. It will take 7 months for the people of Israel to bury the bodies and cleanse the land. 7 months. That's millions of people. I'm trying to tell y'all. Everyone in Israel will help, for it will be a glorious victory for Israel. Can you imagine the stench and the smell? After 7 months, teams of men will be appointed to search the land for skeletons to bury, so the land will be made clean again. Wherever bones are found, a marker will be set up to the burial crew. This is what Great Britain and the United States and who else? And France and Italy and Russia did for Germany. They did this after Hitler committed suicide. Of course, some of y'all say he's still alive, okay? And they overtook the Nazi party. They made the German people do all of this. And now, son of man, wait. The women of Germany were raped by the thousands. They were raped and murdered by the Russian army. And I believe some of the United States men were doing the same thing. And now, son of man, this is what the sovereign call the birds of the wild, say, gather together. Man, listen, he called the birds out and say, it's dinner time. Eat flesh and drink blood. Eat the flesh of the mighty men. Lord, have mercy. This is crazy. Crazy, y'all. This is what's going to happen. When you get down here further, he says, so now this is what the sovereign Lord says. I will end the captivity of my people. I will have mercy on all Israel, for I am jealous. Okay. They will accept responsibility for their past shame and unfaithfulness after they come home to live in peace. When I bring them home from the land of their enemies, I will display my holiness among them for all nations to see. Then my people will know that I am the Lord. Exile, I will leave none of the people behind, and I will never again turn my face from them, for I will pour out my spirit. He goes on and on. This is the restoration. The fight over this part here, chapter 38 and chapter 39, is when does it happen in end time? We see that the rapture happens. Some scholars believe that Ezekiel 38 can happen before the rapture. Some people think that we can still be here and see this because they don't believe that this is the tribulation. Popular thought is the rapture, then the son of perdition comes down. The Antichrist, all right? So the rapture, the Antichrist leads them into the first part of the tribulation, okay? This is what they believe. This is the popular belief. And then that's for 3.5 years. And then we see the great tribulation, okay? Some believe that Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39 is going to happen right here. in the middle of the tribulation. Okay, that's what many people believe is going to happen. Why? Because he talks about unwalled villages and no bars, and safety and peace is going to be in Israel. And then what's going to happen? Bam! An attack is going to happen on them. All right? That's a whole nother show. Okay? So now let's get to the map and figure out how do we map this out to see what are these nations that Ezekiel 38 is talking about. And can we tie this in to what Putin is doing? Yes, I believe we can. Okay? Ezekiel chapter 38 talks about Persia. Okay? He says, Persia. This is Persia right here. Iran. Remember the Persian Gulf War of George Bush Sr. in 1990, 1991. They call it the Persian Gulf War because this used to be called Persia, but it's now Iran. Changed the name. And can y'all tell me what year was that? Is it 1935 or was it 1953? All right. So the Bible is talking about Iran. All right. So this would be Persia. Iran wants to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. Where do we find that? Ahmadinejad said it out of his mouth. This was an earlier president of Iran. Okay. We're also going to find it when we read the book of Psalm chapter 83. Okay. So 1935, the name was changed. Okay. What's next? Then the Bible talks about, it says Ethiopia. Well, in actuality, we see the land, we see Sudan. That's Ethiopia. Okay? Or what we may call, well, today we call Sudan. The old name for that is Cush. We see that in the Old Testament. Cush. Okay? So, then we see the Bible talks about Put. Put is Libya. That's Put. Okay? This is all in Ezekiel I just read to you. And then we see, he says, Gomar and Beth. Okay? Well, Gomar is Turkey. And Beth is Armenia. Now, can y'all look on that map? And can y'all see Israel? This is strategic. Look at this. Iran, Sudan, Libya, Turkey. Look at that. Don't tell me that ain't strategic. And who are they fighting? That little piece of land right in the middle of the trade, of the square, triangle, whatever you want to call it, right in the middle. Israel have no hope. They have no chance. You see how small Israel is? There is no way that Israel could survive that kind of attack. No way. But guess what? God says, go on in, boys. Enjoy yourself. Have lunch on my behalf. Go and have your way. There's no way they could survive that. But Israel is a force to be reckoned with. Come on, Ty Green. But God. Why? Because Israel don't lose, y'all. Israel do not lose. They don't lose wars. I wonder why. Here are some of Israel's wars. The Constant War, a War of Independence, 1948 through 49. The Suez War, 1956. The Six-Day War, remember that? 1967. The War of Attrition, 1967 to 1970. The Yom Kippur War, remember that? 1973. The Lebanese War, 1982. The First Arab Intifada, 1987, all the way to 1993. The First Gulf War, 1991. The Second Arab Intifada, 2000 through 2004. The Hezbollah, remember that? 2006. The war with Hamas. Somebody said hummus, okay? 2008 to 2009. Israel don't lose wars. Y'all know why? Can y'all tell me why Israel don't lose wars? Can y'all tell me? I like to know. Because y'all the smartest people in the world. Why they don't lose wars? Come on, Lawrence. G-O-T. He can't allow them to die. He can't allow that. God fights for them. Yes. The promise. Yes. God's protection. Yes. Come on, Dinah said, look up. All right, now. He mentions Magog. All right. Magog. He says he is in the distant north. Magog, when you go north, who am I running into, y'all? Who am I running into? He didn't say far east. He said distant north. Moscow. Who is Moscow? And Magog. Who else could be a part of Moscow? Guess who else is due north of Israel? Bam. Ukraine. Y'all getting it now? Ukraine have a lot of Russian-speaking citizens there. Now, what we see today may not make sense. It may seem like there's no way that Ukraine would go against Israel. The United States are friends of Israel. Understand? So why would we be trying to protect Ukraine if we think Ukraine is an enemy of Israel? Well, it has a lot to do with Mr. Putin. It's strategic because the heart of the king is in the hand of God. God turns the temperature as he will. I'm going to show y'all another map to prove my point. So Magog, we believe, is possibly Moscow, or it could be Moscow, Ukraine. Okay. Then he talks about Tubal and Meshach. Those are the two nations that always come together. Understand? So we believe possibly that Tubal and Meshach could be Turkey, part of Turkey, or we believe that Tubal and Meshach is Siberia. That's what Siberia is. Understand? Tubal, Meshach. So all these names here, all these titles that we see in the scriptures, we can see how they come together. Then comes Tarshish. Remember I mentioned Tarshish. Well, Tarshish is, remember I talked about South America? Okay. Remember I mentioned South America and the owners of South America? Well, here is Tarshish. Right here. Can y'all tell me what that say? That That's Tarshish. Spain. Spain. You talk to an white evangelical, they're going to tell you that Tarshish is the United States because it mentions the West. Understand? But it is not the United States. Tarshish had a lot to do with South America, Spain, and did not Spain own parts of the United States? What did we buy from Spain? We buy anything from Spain, y'all? Okay. Is this making any sense to y'all? All right, so, but watch this though. Okay, I think I'm gonna save this one right here. Hold on, let me see if I can say. Can I save this as a PDF? I'm gonna save this one as a PDF. I don't know how to do this. I'll just put save. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, hold on. I deleted it. My bad. By mistake, I deleted it. All right, look at this. Look at this map right here. Hold on. Somebody earlier, I think it was Ricardo, mentioned Muslim. Muslims. Look at this. Here's Russia. As you can see, here's Russia up here. And all those territories that I mentioned, Persia, Kush or Sudan, Libya, Turkey, okay, even parts of Moscow, even Ukrainian territories, all right, that I mentioned, a lot of that is and will be Muslim territories. Here's Israel right here. And these are the Muslim territories. The Muslims is the largest growing people in the world. And they are the ones who are going to attack Israel, which often makes scholars wonder if the Antichrist will be a Muslim. Because that guy is going to sit in the temple right here and say that he is God. Right up in there. Is he going to be a Muslim? Or is he going to be a Jew? Man, I tell you. I mean, do y'all see the takeover of these Muslim nations? Now, and here's the thing about all of this. When you go back to the map, where is it? When you go back to the map, none of these border nations are involved. Now watch this. Look at this. So here's Israel. Here's Israel, but Egypt is not even involved. It's not even mentioned. Jordan is not mentioned. Syria, well, yeah. But the border nations are not mentioned here. As a matter of fact, I drew up a list of the nations that you don't see. Yeah, Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, the Gaza, or what you may call the Gaza Strip. These are border nations and they're not mentioned. I wonder why. One reason for Egypt is because God is going to save Egypt. He's going to save them. Yeah. God is going to save Egypt. So let's go here. And I'm going to wrap this up, y'all. I really appreciate y'all hanging out with me, okay? I'm gonna wrap this up because I'm hoping this made sense. Psalms 83. Let's read this right quick. And this is a psalm of Asaph. All right. This is called an imprecatory psalm. Okay. This is an imprecatory psalm. Can y'all tell me what an imprecatory is? And none of you should be praying this type of prayer. In your church, if you're going to read Psalm 81, you read it as a descriptive prayer for someone else because you're reading someone else's mail, but you do not read this as a prescription. If you're doing this, you are incorrect. You are not supposed to take heed to Psalms 83. All right? It is to invoke judgment, okay, or calamity. You should never pray that. Or curses. Never pray that. You understand? And that is against your enemy. Jesus told you to agree with who? And how soon should you agree with them? Huh? So you're not supposed to read this and take this to heart. Oh God, do not be silenced, and do not be deaf. Do not be quiet, oh God. Don't hear the uproar of your enemies. These are your enemies. Don't you see that your arrogant enemies are rising up? They devise crafty schemes against your people, and they conspire against your precious ones. Come, they say, let us wipe out Israel as a nation. That was Iran who said that. He said it publicly. The rest of these nations I mentioned, I've been saying it too. We will destroy the very memory of its existence. Yes, this was their unanimous decision. They signed a treaty. Warsaw. They signed a treaty as allies against you. Y'all, the Bible comes alive, and you won't even read it. These Edomites, who are the Edomites? Y'all know who those are? Who are the Edomites? Who they daddy? Can y'all tell me in the comment section? Who they at? Who they is? The Edomites, Ishmaelites, who are the Moabites? Can y'all tell me who they is? Because these are all cousins. these are all cousins. Who they daddy? God says, I love one of these guys, and he says, I hated the other. Huh? There you go. Esau. That's who the Edomites are. Okay, but then who the Moabite? Huh? Somebody said Ruth. Somebody said Lot. Is that the same? All the mites. Okay. He said the Gebalites, the Ammonites, and the Amalekites. I'm not even going to tell y'all who those are. I'm not going to ask y'all who those are. But I don't have time. And the people of Philistia, Philistia is still here, y'all. Still going on. Assyria has joined them too and is allied with the descendants of Lot. There it is. Y'all got it right. Okay. Do to them as you did to Midianites. It goes on. Endor. Remember the witch of Endor? Orb. All right. These are biblical names that y'all see. Oh my God. Scatter them like tumbleweed. Like the shaft. As a burn, like as fire burns the forest. Man, this is horrible. Kill them all. Get rid of them all. Then they will learn that you alone are called the Lord, and he going to do just that, but not for you. He going to do that for the children of Israel. That's why he going to take you up out of here. For those of you who are mid-tribs and post-trib folks, I keep proving myself that you ain't going to be around for all this. You just want to be. Where Charles at? Charles, where you at? Where? Oh, man. Listen, y'all. This teaching was just too turf for me. This is too turf. If you learned anything, let me know. Send me an email and let me know if you learned anything came to life for you, or light, so as I can, maybe continue in this vein. All right. And so that we could keep educating people on what's going on. Now, for those of you who are part of the Bunker family, I'll make this announcement Saturday. I will be teaching 2 months of Bible study at my church every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Okay, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. I'm doing a series called Sunday School University, all right, where I'm going to show you how to study the Bible. OICA, all right? I'm gonna show you what that is, how to study it in full. We're going 1 hour, all right? We just do 1 hour, all right? Every Wednesday, starting this Wednesday for the next couple months. All right. And we're going to go into a deep, in-depth study of how I come up with all of this stuff. All right. But if you got to be a part of the Bunker family, and you must send me an email. The email is in the description below. Okay. I'll make this announcement again on Saturday on Tresca Brian Lee's birthday. That's a hint. You don't think I know stuff, but that's her birthday this Saturday, so y'all make sure y'all do y'all bring your happy birthdays over on Saturday, okay? You got to email me at the email giftedfriends1@gmail.com, and in the comments section you must put Bunker Family. You must put that in there, or you will not be getting in. Okay, you will not be getting in. All right, you got to put in the description in the email Bunker Family, and in the body of the email, you must give me the name that you go by on social media. You understand? The email is below on YouTube. On any of my YouTube shows, you'll see the email. You're not going to see it right now because once this show is over, I got to put it in there. But it's giftedfriends1@gmail.com. All right? I want my Bunker family to join me every Wednesday starting next week at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right, for 1 hour at my church. I will be doing the Bible studies. All right, and you are going to learn a lot about the beginning, the history of the Bible, different translations to use, what not to use. We're going to go into dispensational teachings. We're going to talk about gender studies. That means women's studies, men's studies, all that for the next 2 months. All right, so again, go to my email and put in the description. You must put that in there. Bunker Family. And then in the email, you say whatever your name is on your social media account. Linda A. Johnson, you put Linda A. Johnson. So I'll know it's you. Because I got to do that because I can't allow the trolls to come in. You understand? And if a troll, if I get an email from Linda A. Johnson twice, I'll know that one of them is a troll. Okay. We can't have that. All right. Let me know who you are, and then I will send you the codes to that teaching. All right. God, I thank you for your presence. I thank you for your blood. I thank you for the people who are here. I love these people. They love your word, and I pray that they got something out of this eschatological teaching on the end time and what's going on. I pray for the people of these nations here. Iran, Sudan, Libya, Turkey. I pray for the people in Moscow, the people in Ukraine, the Ukrainian people who are being pommered, just overtaken by these weapons of mass destruction over their heads. A lot of innocent people there are losing their lives because of one man who don't love you, who don't know who you are. I pray for the safety of those people and that this scuffle stop eventually. Praying for peace. worldwide makes no sense to you or me. So I can't pray for peace, but I must pray that your will is done, so that these things must take place so that your son, Jesus Christ, can come and fix all of this. But I do pray for the safety of many of those who are out there, so that you could allow them to just get to know you as soon as possible. I expect to see many of the foreign-speaking people when I get to heaven. When I get into that sweet by and by, I want to be able to converse and talk to people of different languages, from the Russian Empire to the German Empire to the Japanese Empire to the Chinese Empire, South American Empire. All right, I want to be able to look at them all, because you did say in Revelation that John saw a number that no man could number, from all nations around the world. So evidently you up to something, and it is wonderful. So I pray for these families, that your will still be done. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Delisa Daniel, for the Cash App. Thank you so much, Linda A. Johnson, for the Cash App. Okay. All right. And for the rest of you, you got to send me an email. All right. Send me an email. If you send me a text, sorry, you ain't getting in. You got to send me an email again. Rewind this and you'll hear my instructions. Okay? Email, please. And I will send you the code for that. I'll make this announcement again on Saturday. I love y'all. Take care of yourselves. I'm going to eat a late lunch. Late lunch. Not too much, but I'm going to eat. And chill. Tomorrow is questions and answers. Tomorrow is questions and answers. If you got a question, the people got to answer. If you got some questions for about today, we can answer those tomorrow. And general questions about anything, politics, about sex, about, I don't know, social issues. We don't care. We the Bunker family. All right, take care of yourselves and one another. Sleep good tonight. But again, pray for those people over in Ukraine. Will you please? Pray. It doesn't matter. They don't have to be your neighbors, but we all are the body of Christ. We're all a part of the body of Christ. And there are some believers over in Ukraine. Trust me, God got them scattered all over the world. Don't just think that the United States is one big holy nation. We are the worst of the worst. We are the worst of the worst. All right. We are Sodom and Gomorrah. Matter of fact, God said he's going to save Sodom and Gomorrah in the book of Ezekiel. Remember I said that? And I showed it to y'all a few weeks ago. He's going to bring them from the dead and restore Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm a poet, didn't know it. That's why he turned to the Pharisees, who some of y'all are. He says, it would be better for Sodom than it would be for you. Lord have mercy. I got to go. Love y'all. Take care. Hey, Dinah, tell Joe, what's up? What's up, man?
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Well, goodbye. 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 Enjoy yourself. Goodbye. 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 Bye. Well, goodbye. 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 Goodbye.
Fellas, does it seem like you can't get a good woman? Ladies, wonder why you can't keep a man? Then read The 4 Women That Men Desire, Volume 1, by Sirwalterj to figure out how to break the cycle. Go to Amazon.com to get your copy.
Right, Mr. Walters?